Hi, John. I'd like to thank you for coming back in today. What we're going to do today is go over the results of the assessments that you took last week. The first one we're going to go over is the Beck Depression Inventory. That was to do, what that assessment does is help to determine the severity of your depressive symptoms. So, do you remember taking that assessment tool last week? Okay. If you have any questions or concerns, feel free to stop me at any time so we can address those and get to those points for you. Um, I provided you a copy of the interpretation of all of the assessments that you took. So the first one like I said, was going to be the Beck Depression Inventory. Now on this inventory, it did show you that you were severely depressed, which is of concern to me. One reason being is that you stated you would kill yourself if you had the chance, which puts you at an immediate risk for suicide ideation or an attempted suicide. Um, so John, I'd like to ask you if there was any confusion maybe over that question, or maybe why you felt you answered that way on the BDI. Okay, well, as you well know, severe depression is a marked indication of suicide ideation and the possibility of suicide. So what that did is it led me in to give you the Beck Suicide Scale to determine whether you are genuinely at risk for suicide. Um, elevated levels of depression, hopelessness, and anxiety all are indicators of suicide. The BDI, you scored 32, which puts you in the 99th percentile, which is an extremely high risk, John. So I have some very imminent concerns for your health. Do you have any questions right now that maybe you would like to ask me? Okay, well, the next thing, like I said, after taking the BDI, I had you take the Beck Suicide Scale, and that was determine the absolute immediate risk for you attempting suicide. One thing you did do on the Beck Suicide Scale is that you endorsed that you have a moderate or strong wish to live, you have a weak wish to die, your reasons for living and dying are about equal, and you have no desire to kill yourself. And you also indicated that you have never attempted suicide. So that does mark some, it does provide some confusion between the BDI and the BSS. So what I really need to kind of get down to now is, you know, what you feel or how you feel about these assessments. Okay, well, I'm sure you did have some anxiety while you were taking these. Assessment tools can provide anxiety in the situation you're in. You're coming to seek help, and I'm giving you tools or giving you, questionnaires to help determine, uh, like I said, with the BDI, the severity of your depression, and the BSS will help provide information on whether you are at imminent risk for suicide. Now, if you turn to the next page, there are some of the questions that you responded to on the BDI-2, which I feel are important to go over because it's going to give us a plan of action in the future. And also, we can help relate this to your past and to the present now, and maybe formulate a treatment plan that we feel will be successful for you, and we want your input on this. So keep that in mind. And again, if you have any questions or concerns, feel free to ask me. Uh, like I said, you did score in the range of severe depression on the BDI-2, and some of the following statements you did endorse, where you did answer the yes, basically. You said you feel guilty all of the time. Again, you would kill yourself if you had the chance. Uh, you said you feel restless or agitated and you have to keep moving or doing something. Also says you were sad all the time, and that as you look back on your life, you see a lot of failures. You can continue to go down the list, uh, of questions that are on the interpretation. And if there are any questions you have about those, or there was any confusion while you were taking the assessment, feel free to ask me about them. Okay. Well, again, the after that, I did have you take the Beck suicide scale. But the next scale I want to go over with you is the Beck hopelessness scale. And again, hopelessness is a broad definition. What are you feel hopelessness about? It can be any definition, but it's your definition. So, you did respond true to some of the following statements. I can't imagine my life would be what it would be like in 10 years. You said your future seems dark to you. You said you can't get breaks and there's no reason I will in the future. All of these statements you answered true to. So there is plenty of, obviously you have some hopelessness. You did score moderate on this scale. You also responded false to several other items. When things are going badly, I am helped by knowing that they cannot stay that way forever. You said you answered false to I have enough time to accomplish the things I want to do. In the future, I expect to succeed in what concerns me most. So again, moderate hopelessness you feel is understandable in accordance with the Beck Depression Inventory scale. You being in severe depression, the Beck Hopelessness Scale and the anxiety that you feel are all correlated together, and there's plenty of information that can show that. The final assessment I had you take was the Beck Anxiety Inventory, and that's to determine whether maybe your anxiety is playing into some of your depression or your feelings of hopelessness. You said you were unable to relax, and these are subjective and panic-related symptoms, and I want you to understand that. So this is how you feel. You said your heart was pounding or racing. You said you have feelings of choking, difficulty of breathing, a fear of dying, and scared. As you can see, in the moderate range was the unable to relax, the fear of losing control, and the difficulty of breathing, while the others were in the mild range. Also in the anxiety inventory, you notated that you felt hot sometimes, dizzy or lightheaded, hands trembling, shaky, you had some indigestion. Again, those were all in the mild to moderate range, which overall on the BAI, you were in the moderate range, which shows that you do have some anxiety and some somatic symptoms or physical symptoms caused by the anxiety. So are there any questions you have about the anxiety exam or the hopelessness scale? Okay, well, what we're going to do for you, John, is I want you to understand this and I want your input. We need to set up a treatment plan for you. I think right now, with you indicating that that you would take your life if given the chance, we need to consider the option of you seeking help with a psychiatrist who can maybe prescribe you some medication to help you get through this time in your life where you are feeling severely depressed and hopeless. You have a lot of hopelessness and you do have some anxiety symptomology. I also want you to continue meeting with me, so maybe we can use these assessments again in future reference to determine your progress and see if the symptoms are decreasing or increasing, and maybe take future steps as far as in the treatment plan. Do you have any further questions? Well, I'm glad that you recognize that you feel you need to talk to someone. That's part of the plan. That's what I'm here for. And if you feel you need to talk to me at any time, feel free to call me. You have my number. Also, I'm going to give you a referral to a psychiatrist. She works closely with me, and we've been in contact for years with each other in a professional relationship. I do want you to feel comfortable with her. But what she's going to do is she is also going to use the assessment tools that you took to determine a plan of action for you. And a treatment plan in conjunction with what I'm going to set up for you. Again, feel free to call me at any time you have any questions or concerns. And I think we are going to get going on the right path, using these assessments. You did notate on the Beck Suicide Ideation Scale that you didn't want to kill yourself, but again, it contradicts what you stated on the Beck Depression Inventory, so that is of some concern to me. Is there any way you could give me some clarification on that? Well, I'm sure emotions do play a lot, and you were in a very emotional state when you came in to take the assessment. So, what we can do is we can sit down and we can, go over these individually in future sessions and maybe determine where your anxiety is coming from, why you have some hopelessness, and maybe we can eliminate some of the depressive symptoms as we go. Like I said, the medication that the psychiatrist may prescribe to you may also help with that. Again, John, thank you for coming in and recognizing that you did have some symptomology of depression. And, let's look forward to the future, and we'll also look back to the past to see maybe where this played a role in your life. and maybe we can get things covered for you and go from there. Thank you again, John. Have a good day.